It's been a while since my last settlement upload. I've got a lot of settlements coming up soon. Today we're at County Crossing, where I've built a massive weapons factory. This is my first and last factory. We'll get to why later. In the entranceway, I've made an office, and I first got my hands on PS4 mods a little while ago, and I've been experimenting with decoration mods, trying to make things look that little bit more lived in and immersive. And if you've seen any of my previous uploads, you may notice it's a lot more detailed than anything I've uploaded before, because mods have saved me so much time in placing things down and them not being moved, as well as having a lot more things to place down to avoid repetition. If you haven't guessed it, this is the weapon shop. Fairly straightforward. Got some magazines there, some guns and ammo, and some Tesla science. These shops aren't much more detailed than my previous shops. I've got a nice storeroom at the back. Just add a little bit more depth and realism. Next to the weapon shop is my general store, and while mods on PS4 are quite limited, they have allowed me to add a lot more detail, as well as saving me a ridiculous amount of time. And there's a lot of things you can see that just aren't available without mods, and you can see which mods I've used in the description below the video. I built my generator room behind the general store. It's kind of a generator slash maintenance room. There are a lot of places in this build where I had planned on adding a lot more detail, but my frame rate was getting silly. Some places it was about 4 frames a second. Out the back here, nothing special, just a disposal area and my iBot machine. Around the back, I've just plopped down some outhouses. Back inside, we will check out the floors above very soon. The factory itself, I've got a lot of machines doing a lot of things. I've got a lot of detail. I've packed in as much detail as I possibly can into this settlement without my frame rate dying on me. Quickly check out below the storeroom. This doesn't really serve any functional purpose. It's just there to add some immersion and a bit of extra depth to the build. And as I say, I wanted to add a lot more detail. It got to the point where if I fast travel here, it takes about 8 or 9 minutes to load the file now. The PS4 is not ideal for enormous builds. Right out the front area, this is a loading area. The house that used to be there, I was able to scrap again with mods. Put down a trading post. I like having the big window at the front. It gives a good view of everything that's going on inside, especially at night. I built some good defences. I didn't build a fence, but I got some sentry bots. I got 3 sentry bots and about 4 other guard towers, and there is not much at all going to be getting in here. Factory default mode. And now we get to the reason that we're here, the main factory floors where it all happens. First up on the right, this is where my ammo all gets dropped down from the floor above. I've got 5 ammo forges that all converge into one. And on this floor I have 3 weapon forges behind that, currently making 44 magnums, combat shotguns, and on the far left behind that we have some rifles. And on the far side of this floor we have 2 energy weapon forges, currently making laser muskets and laser rifles. Each side of this floor I have a power armor station, which I was able to add some extra decorations to, again thanks to mods. This is the view from inside the window. As you can see, this is actually a Minutemen establishment. And here behind them I've just plopped down some weapon forges so people can seem like they're busy. Opposite the statue I've placed in an elevator which goes all the way top to bottom. It goes down to the storeroom all the way up to the top floor. Now we get to the floor above, and just like below I've tried to make this place as detailed as possible. First thing here, I've got a little research area. This as well was thanks to a mod, the paint maker station. Behind that I've got a little office area. And these are my ammo forges. I did originally have these all hooked up to one generator before I realised that that wasn't going to work, having 5 different types of ammo. So that was the main reason this build took me a lot longer than it should have done, because I had to take everything down and rewire absolutely everything, which was a nightmare. These floors are really good for this build though, because you can see through them and you can see what's going on the floors below and above. Another couple of power armor stations on this floor on the far side. Again, lots of decorations thanks to mods. And I did have this place set up differently, and I could have fit a lot more in using the rollers, but they don't work. This is what I ended up with. They don't roll at all. Also, you may notice I've got letters written on the side of my manufacturing machines. This is to tell me what I need to put in them, so I don't have to go to the console every time, and it makes it a lot easier to let yourself know what you need to put in there. And if you put numbers on your generators as well, so you always know which machine is hooked up to which circuit, makes things a lot easier for this type of build. Okay, so that brings us to the top floor of the factory. I've got some heavy weapon forges up here, currently making Gauss rifles and missile launchers, and on the far side I am making some assault rifles. There was other things I wanted to make that simply don't work. Miniguns are too big and fat fat mans or fat men, I'm not sure what the plural is, but they don't work, they just get spat out and usually end up on the floor. So I stopped building those after a while. Behind that we have the one armor forge that I have here. And behind that I have another little office slash research area. Again, not functional, just there to look the part. It's got a good view of all the floors below. Behind that we have an explosive forge, currently making plasma mines.
Whatever it is we're out here looking for, I'm certain we'll find it soon. Monitoring.
And on the far side we're making some flares in the explosives mill. Another elevator up here, it just connects to 3 main factory floors. It's got a nice view from the windows and it just makes getting around a little bit easier when settlers pile up on the staircases. And if you want to have elevators in your build, it's wise to add it at the end, because this could happen and you might have to replace it, and if you've built around it, it can be difficult. On the top floor, it was quite empty to begin with. It had a nice roof, but I wanted to make it more full, so I ended up putting this walkway in. It goes all the way around the top floor, and it gives me a really good view of everything going on, and it fills the space. So I've got some really nice views of the build from up here. And at the end of the walkway, at the front of the building above the main windows, I've put in a little security office. It's a good view of everything from up here.
Yes.
And this leads out to the front to a walkway that leads all the way around the roof. And we'll check out the roof in just a moment. Outside the building I've added also walkways and at least a couple of points of access for each floor, because I find it can get very tedious trying to get around a big build if you've only put one staircase in. Right, we're on to the roof now, and this little lower part of the roof at the back, I've put in some extra power armor stations and some weapon stations, as well as a little security office at the back. And again, I've spent quite a lot of time decorating it, trying to make it look realistic. This is the view of the roof, and these walkways went in. This is all without mods. These walkways on the roof, they were tricky to go in, but it is possible without mods, and it has a really nice effect of having these little walkways that lead up onto the roof. If we go up to the top, there's not a lot on the roof. I did plan to put more here, but at the moment it's just got a couple of guard towers with a nice view. My main aim with this settlement was to make it look like a place that would already exist in the game, to make it look as organic as possible. So please let me know what you think. Alright, you got the gumption.